Namaste. I'm Reverend Wendy Craig-Purcell here at the Unity Center in beautiful San Diego. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. Please make sure that you like the video you've just watched and consider making a contribution on our app or on our website. It's really easy to do, and thank you in advance for that support. It does make a difference. Today I want to talk to you about the community's gift. We began this month looking at the gift, the call of Mary, or rather the call first of Joseph, and then last Sunday the call of Mary, looking at the various characters in the Christmas story and what they invite us to consider, how they invite us to live. And today I want to wrap it up with the gift of the community. Yes, I'm going to say Jesus for Saturday, but I want to wrap it up with the gifts of the community. And so in just listening to the beautiful message in that song, my mind just opens to a wide appreciation, not just of the love of God or Spirit that I believe in, but the love of friends, the love of a partner, and the love of community. Community matters. Being together matters. There are times that we're part of a gathering, part of a community where we are the one that is strong and happy and everything's going so well in our lives, and we can be that shining light, that inspiration, that sense of hope for the one that is maybe not experiencing that. Sometimes we're in community, right? And we're struggling, we're hurting, we feel alone or confused or lost or afraid, and we draw upon the strength of the other. And so today, as we look at the community in the Christmas story, I wanted us to look at the angel, I wanted us to look at the shepherds, and I wanted us to look at the wise men. And what do they invite us into? When I think of the word invitation and what that means, when I think of being invited somewhere, it's something good. It's something positive. It's something I'm looking forward to. And when I think of invitation, I think of the importance of participation, right? I might be sent the invitation, but to really enjoy it, I have to do what? I have to show up. I have to participate. I have to be involved. I have to engage. And so what is the invitation of the shepherds, of the angels, of the wise men? The first, looking at the gift of the angels. When I think of the Christmas story, angels are very prevalent, right? In the history of the Christmas story. We went out yesterday looking at Christmas lights in our neighborhood, and we were reminiscing about the years of decorating for the kids in the community that we used to do in our home. And our daughter Jennifer reminded us of her favorite outdoor Christmas decoration, and that was this beautiful angel that we had. And so, maybe when you think of the Christmas story, you also think of the angels. And what was the angel's gift? What was the angel's message? It was kind of the same message throughout the Christmas story. Whether it was the angel that spoke to Joseph, the angel gave Joseph the message to take Mary as his wife and to fear not. To fear not. The angel's message to Mary was likewise, fear not. Even when she said, "How can this be?" The angel said what? Fear not. The angel appeared to the shepherds as well. Fear not. To participate more fully in our lives, we need to do what? Fear not, or at least fear less. Right? At least fear less. Or not let the fear that does bubble up stop us. We need to be able to say, there's something beyond that fear. There's something in me that is stronger and greater than that fear. Each time in the Christmas story that the angel appears, the angel comes bringing good news. That should be encouraging, right? Fear not, because on the other side of the fear is something good. Something good. something good. I think of angels as divine messengers. And sometimes the message is so good, but it's also scary. Have you ever gotten a message like that? Yeah, I have too. The message can be so good, but also is scary because it's requiring us to stretch and grow. It's requiring us to somehow let go maybe of something that we've always known or a way that we've always been to step into something new. That can bring up fear. The good news is often big news, but that big news comes with a requirement. And I think that requirement is to move beyond fear, to give up the size of the life we've known, to step into the bigger life that is calling us. But it's like we want to keep one foot back here. And we get stuck. We get stuck. We may need to change. So much of what I think our spiritual journey is about is a journey of growth and change. To change our thinking, to align our thinking more with God mind or divine thinking or higher thought. To change our way of seeing, to broaden our view, to not be fooled by appearances, to look through, to look beyond, to see the possibilities. We may be required to change our way of being, but to fear not. The angel's message, the invitation to let go of the size of the life we've known, to step into that bigger life, that better life, that life that is calling us. The gift of the call and invitation of the shepherds, I think. What do you remember of the shepherds? They're out in the field, watching their flock, right? That was a big responsibility. We might not think of it so much. We might think of cute little barnyard animals and just having fun with it. This was their livelihood. They were keeping watch of their flock at night, we're told. But they were told something. They were told to not be afraid, but they were told that they were to leave. They were told that they were to take notice. They had to take notice. They had to pay attention. They had to be mindful. They had to be willing to drop everything to follow the star to the manger. Where are you being asked? Are you being asked? Maybe you are being asked somewhere in your life to drop what you've known and to follow something new. A lot of what the excitement is, I think, at the end of the year and the stepping into a new year is the idea of something more, something better. That pulls us, doesn't it? It's like this magnet. I hope that we never lose that. To me, that's what hope is all about. That's what the star symbolically is pulling us toward. To take notice, to take heed, to be willing in the middle of whatever is your responsibility, to go for something that is beyond and better and more. That takes courage. That takes strength. I put in my notes, the shepherds RSVP'd. They didn't send the message to voicemail. They took action. And I wonder how many times in my life, I've put an RSVP to something that I should have taken action on right then and right there. To take heed, to be mindful, to be present, to be ready and willing. To be ready and willing to follow that star. That's how we participate more fully in our life. That's how we participate more fully. And the call of the wise men, to me, is a call to change, to be willing to change direction. They went to the manger We're told they brought gifts. We think that there were three because there were three gifts, but if you actually read the story, it doesn't say three. It just says wise men from the east, bringing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So we put on to the story that it was three. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It's not that it matters. It's the essence of what it points to. The essence of what it points to. So they went. And they followed the path, whatever that path was, to get to the manger. But then they were warned not to go back the same way. That's one of my favorite parts of the Christmas story. And sometimes I forget, but most of the time I don't. Whenever I leave here after candle lighting on a Christmas Eve service, I try to make it a point to go home a different way. To go home a different way. My husband does that really well. No, on purpose, Mike. He does it on purpose. But he can be a half an hour later than the rest of the family on Christmas Eve because he's really going home a very different way, in a very long way. And then we give each other a bad time because I say, how come you're late? And he says, you told me to go home a different way. The willingness, though, to shake things up in our life when they need to be shaken up. The wise men went, and I've got to believe that however they went, they had a purpose in mind. They knew where they were going when they got there. And they probably thought they were going to go back the same way, right? It would make sense. It would be efficient. But they were warned in a dream, no, that could be dangerous. Go home a different way. And so it's just a reminder to me that the spiritual path is a path that while it's got very definite practices along the way, we also have to be willing to be fluid and to move with it, to not be afraid, to take heed, to be willing to change, to be willing to do something different, to be paying attention. Our practices put us in a position to be better able to live that way. And to me, the reward for being able to live that way is a life that is more beautiful, more purposeful, more inspiring. We are meant to grow and evolve. We are not meant to stay the same. We are meant to grow and evolve. I'm reminded of this little quip I read years ago of two women friends talking to each other, one saying to the other, Rachel, I married him for better or worse, but never in all my years did I imagine he'd stay the same. We're meant to grow and change, to evolve. When I was putting this lesson together, as always, I always do some research. I look without, I look within, I research. And I came across a fascinating piece written by, of all people, Jonas Salk. Jonas Salk. Did you know that he was an advocate for the belief of evolution, that we are meant as a species to grow and evolve? I want to read a somewhat lengthy piece to you that was in his journal, a journal entry he wrote on March 27th, 1984, down the street from his home in La Jolla. He wrote, I now see that the major shift in human evolution is from behaving like an animal struggling to survive to behaving like an animal choosing to evolve. That's what our spiritual practice is. When we are really practicing, we are going to be consciously co-participating in our own evolution. He continues, in fact, in order to survive, man has to evolve. And to evolve, we need a new kind of thinking. Does he not sound like us? We need a new kind of thinking and a new kind of behavior, a new ethic and a new morality. It will be that of the evolution of everyone rather than the survival of the fittest. The thrust of it is that we must, in our thinking and behavior, replace survival behavior with conscious evolutionary behavior. We are driven by both survival and by evolutionary instincts. The evolutionary instinct compels us to bring out the best in ourselves and in each other, to recognize our interconnectedness with everyone. These are powerful words from a truly brilliant mind that sounds awfully like what we do our best to practice in unity and in the science of mind. He asked himself, how would this work? What would it look like in his life to replace survival behavior with evolutionary behavior? I like that. So he's got this idea, this belief we are meant to grow and evolve, just like the belief that we have. And it requires being less fearful. It requires being mindful. It requires being willing to change, just like the community in the Christmas story reminds us. But he's putting himself right in the laboratory of testing the ideas out by saying, I wonder what it would look like if I actually practice living this way. And then it's noted that he decided to give it a try, and that for a week he was going to practice conscious evolutionary behavior. And what he found at the end of that week were 4 things. And I want to tell you what he found. He noticed these 4 things. Number 1, when we are preoccupied with survival, much of our behavior is dictated by fear. Fear that usually has little to do with our actual survival. What's a recurring message in the Christmas story from the angels? 2 words. Fear not. Fear not. Jonah Salk is saying, when we're in a survival mode, we are acting out of fearfulness. Such survival behavior can be triggered by the fear of losing anything that we hold near and precious to us. The second thing he noticed was that survival behavior has been ingrained in us for so long that we automatically gravitate to it. And so what do we do about that? If it's ingrained in us for so long as a species, as a community, what do we do about that? Number 1, just knowing that that's our automatic tendency helps us to be forewarned so that we can kind of check it at the gate, if you will. That when we notice, oh, wait a minute, I'm acting out of this survival instinct, it's almost as if in the moment that we can name it, we can shift a tiny bit. Does that make sense? And third, he noticed we must choose to be co-creators in our evolution. We must choose to be co-creators in our evolution. Some of you in this room are familiar with the work of the late Barbara Marx Hubbard, wrote a whole book on conscious evolution, was a proponent of this idea that we must consciously co-create our life experience. Co-create with what? With the divine, with God, with spirit, with the Buddha nature, with the Christ nature, whatever you want to call that, to participate with it fully, or as fully as you are able to co-create, to manifest, to design, not by default, but by deliberately, your life. What do you want it to be like? How do you want to show up? And the 4th thing he noticed, to evolve, we must give up any idea of doing it perfectly. Thank you, Jonas Salk. To evolve, we must give up any idea of doing it perfectly. I think it was my friend Dr. Roger Teal, from whom I first heard these words. Birth is messy. Think about it. Physical birth, it's pretty messy. The birthing of a dream, the birthing of a new you, the birthing of an idea, the birthing of a goal, kind of can be messy, right? How many of you have had a great, wonderful goal and dream and actually brought it about? Raise your hand, I know you have. But did the bringing it about go exactly the way you thought it was going to when you started? No. And it was probably painful at times, am I right? And you probably had to get over some fear. You probably had to be very mindful in the process and pay attention because you might have been told, no, not that way, this way, right? Right? We evolve when we are courageous one more time than we are fearful. We evolve when we are trusting one more time than when we are anxious. We evolve when we cooperate one more time than we compete. We evolve when we forgive one more time after giving up any sense of getting even. Our journey is a journey of evolution. And whether we look through the eyes of the Christmas story or any other story that gives life and meaning to us, we are meant to grow and evolve. We are not meant to stay the same. That doesn't mean that where we are is bad. I mean, one of the core teachings in unity is that we are born in original blessing, not in original sin. So it's not that there's anything wrong with who we are right now. It's just that there's so much more that can unfold in and through each and every one of us. I've always believed with every ounce of me that the better we do at becoming the best version of ourselves, the greater the gift we are to the healing of our human family. And that if each one of us were supported in being the best version of ourselves that we can be, we really would be healing our world with love. And to me, this is why a teaching is so important, something that speaks to our mind, our heart, and our soul spiritually, that we can practice and use in our life on a daily basis is critical to that success, but so is a sense of relationship. So is a sense of community. Look around for a moment at each other. Just look around. Don't be shy or embarrassed. And I'm looking at best I can at some of you that I know are joining us online. You may not know the person near you. You probably know the person right next to you, but if you looked around, you may or may not know everyone in this room, and we certainly don't know everyone that watches us online. But we are a community of people who care about and for one another. And we can draw upon that for ourselves to be lifted up and to move through fear, to be more mindful, to be more flexible and adaptable when spirit says change and grow here. But we can also give that back to each other. And I think both are equally blessed and equally important. So I hope that in this journey of taking a look at some of the characters in the Christmas story, that there are ideas that you walk away with that will help you when you wake up tomorrow morning to be able to live a better, happier, more purposeful life. That's what we're here to do for one another, to see that, to believe that, and to support that happening in each other. Namaste.